The pain came in slow, deliberate waves, each one dragging me farther from the shore of consciousness. I remember the metallic smell of blood, thick and warm, soaking the sheets beneath me. I remember the fluorescent lights above the delivery room, flickering like a dying heartbeat. I remember the way the heart monitor's steady beep stretched into one long, unbroken note. Flatline. I was 29 years old, and I was dying in a private wing of Manhattan's most exclusive hospital. The one with marble floors and crystal chandeliers, in the lobby, the Vanderbilt wing. My husband's family owned half the building. They could have saved me. They chose not to. My twins had just been born. Two perfect cries slicing through the fog, a boy and a girl. I never got to hold them. Footsteps, designer heels clicking against tile. Vanessa Harper walked in first, radiant even at 2:00 a.m. Her platinum blonde hair was swept into an elegant chignon, diamonds glittering at her throat. She wore a silk maternity dress in soft champagne, the kind that costs more than most people make in a year, even though she had never carried a child and never would. Behind her stood Mason Vanderbilt, my husband, his hand resting possessively on the small of her back, and beside them, Logan Vanderbilt, Mason's identical twin, the spare heir who had once sworn he'd love me forever. I tried to speak, my throat was sandpaper. Please, the word came out as a cracked whisper. Let me see them. Just once, my babies. Vanessa's smile was slow, deliberate, the same smile that had charmed Harvard deans, talk show hosts, and half the Forbes list. She stepped closer, close enough for me to smell her perfume, something French and cruel. Your babies. She tilted her head, mock confused. Oh, Ava. Sweet, stupid Ava from the mountains. They're Vanderbilt babies, and once you're gone, they'll call me Mommy. She brushed an invisible speck from her dress. A girl who grew up in a trailer park in West Virginia has no business raising heirs to a $100 billion dynasty. Mason didn't look at me. He never did anymore. Logan at least had the decency to flinch, but only for a second. I tried to lift my hand. It felt like lead. You promised me. I rasped. You both promised. Vanessa laughed, light and crystalline. Promises are for people who matter. Darling. The obstetrician cleared his throat from the doorway. Mrs. Vanderbilt, we're losing her. If we transfuse now? No, Mason said quietly. His voice carried the same calm authority he used in boardrooms. Let nature take its course. The doctor hesitated, then nodded and stepped back. I stared at the ceiling as the room began to blur. My last thought before the darkness swallowed me was vicious and straightforward. If I ever get another chance, I will burn every single one of you to the ground. And then I died. Light exploded behind my eyelids. Camera flashes, hundreds of them. Miss Reynolds. How does it feel to be the national #1 scorer and Harvard's newest full scholarship prodigy? I blinked. My legs were steady beneath me. My lungs were full. My hands, no blood, no IV. Just the familiar calluses from flipping burgers and tutoring calculus at 3 a.m. I was 18 again. The Harvard yard stretched green and endless in front of me. Crimson banners snapped in the May breeze. My aunt clutched my arm, tears streaming down her weathered cheeks. Reporters shouted questions in a dizzying roar. Ava. Over here, smile for the Boston Globe. I looked down at myself. Same faded denim jacket I'd worn the day the acceptance letter arrived. Same scuffed boots I'd bought at the Goodwill in Charleston. But inside my chest, a 29-year-old woman who had bled out on a delivery table was screaming. I was back. God, or fate, or sheer spite had given me a second shot. And I was going to use it. My aunt squeezed me tighter. Baby, they're asking you something. Say something pretty. I opened my mouth, ready to give the humble soundbite I'd given last time, when the crowd parted like the Red Sea. Victor Harper strode across the lawn as if he owned it, which technically he half did. Harper Ventures had donated the new quantum computing lab. Tailored navy suit, salt and pepper hair, that practiced smile that had graced the cover of Time twice. And on his arm, his only daughter, Vanessa Harper. She looked the same. Porcelain skin, ice blue eyes, the kind of beauty that made people forget how to blink. She wore a white Chanel dress that probably cost more than my aunt's trailer. Cameras swiveled instantly. The reporters abandoned me as if I were yesterday's news. Victor raised a hand, and the yard fell silent. Harvard has always been a beacon of meritocracy. He began, voice smooth as aged bourbon. When I heard the national #1 scorer came from the same forgotten Appalachian county I once escaped, I had to go personally. Harper Ventures is proud to announce an $800,000 innovation fellowship in Miss Ava Reynolds' name, plus complete coverage of graduate and medical school tuition at any institution she chooses. Flashes. Applause. My aunt gasped beside me. In my first life, I had cried. I had fallen to my knees right there on the grass and sobbed, thanking him, thanking Vanessa, promising I would never forget their kindness. This time I stayed standing. I stepped forward, away from my aunt, and faced the microphones. "Thank you, Mr. Harper," I said, in a clear and calm voice, every word deliberate. "Your generosity is overwhelming. But I've spent the last 2 years working 4 jobs, tutoring, waiting tables, coding apps on the side, to pay my own way. I've already wired Harvard the full 8-year pre-med tuition from my savings." A ripple went through the crowd. Victor's smile froze. I kept going. "I respectfully request that you redirect the $800,000 to Jefferson High School in McDowell County. Half the kids there drop out before junior year to work the mines or the pill mills. That money could keep 100 of them in school. It could even produce the following national #1. Silence. Then the reporters erupted. Victor recovered first, charm sliding back into place like a well-oiled weapon. What a noble heart. Of course. In fact, he turned to the dean, saying that Harper Ventures would make it $1 million a year, every year, in Ava Reynolds' name. Cameras loved it. My aunt was crying again. Students were cheering. But I saw Vanessa's eyes narrow. Just a fraction of predator, recognizing another predator wearing the skin of prey. That night, the internet detonated. Appalachian. Prodigy rejects. Billionaire, Ava Reynolds coal miner's daughter. Turns down $800K. My inbox overflowed. Scholarship offers, talk show invites. Even a senator from West Virginia wanted a photo op. And in a quiet corner of TikTok, a 15-second clip looped endlessly me in my thrift store jacket, voice steady, telling one of the wealthiest men in America exactly where he could put his money. I watched the views climb past 20 million and allowed myself one small, savage smile. Round 1 goes to the girl from the trailer park. But I knew Vanessa. I knew the Vanderbilts. I knew the war had only just begun. And this time, I remembered every single move they'd ever made. Move-in day smelled like privilege and new paint. I dragged my single suitcase up 4 flights because the elevator had a handwritten sign reserved for Harper Suite deliveries. Of course. Room 412. Elliott House. The door was already open. Vanessa Harper stood in the middle of the standard room, as if she'd been born there, directing 2 movers in Italian loafers on where to place a white velvet sectional that definitely wasn't university issued. She turned when she saw me, a smile blooming like a Venus flytrap. "Ava." "What are the odds?" She clasped her hands together. "We're suitemates. Daddy pulled a few strings. Isn't this fun?" Fun, right. The suite had 4 bedrooms off a shared living area. 2 other girls were already unpacking. Riley Quinn, investigative journalism. Dark Bob. Eyes that missed nothing gave me a quick, sympathetic nod. Lauren Park Finance. Immaculate posture. Quiet voice offered a polite smile that didn't reach her eyes. I dropped my suitcase, Harper, Park, Quinn, and Reynolds. Cute. They alphabetized us. Vanessa laughed, tinkling and fake. "Don't be silly. It's destiny." Destiny smelled like $800 an ounce candle and impending doom. That night, we did the obligatory freshman bonding. Pizza on the floor, truth or dare, the usual. Vanessa produced a bottle of 2005 Dom Perignon and 4 crystal flutes she'd apparently brought just in case. Riley raised an eyebrow. "You travel with champagne flutes?" "Mommy says plastic is for people who don't matter." Lauren accepted her glass without comment. I pretended to sip. Vanessa leaned in, eyes sparkling. Group photo. For the memories. We posed. Riley rolled her eyes but complied. The flash went off. Later, when everyone was asleep, I opened the photo on my phone and zoomed in. 4 faces, same heart-shaped jawline, same wide-set eyes, same slope of the nose if you ignored the fillers and the $10,000 skincare. Take away the money, add identical makeup, and we could pass for sisters. A cold, sick realization crawled up my spine. I was looking at a lineup. That week, Vanessa started her campaign. She accidentally left a Birkin on my desk, monogrammed, limited edition, worth more than my aunt's house. She invited us to brunch at a rooftop restaurant where the Vanderbilts kept a permanent table. She dropped casual mentions of my childhood friends Mason and Logan. You'll love them. They're literally princes of Wall Street. I declined every invitation with surgical precision. Sorry, cadaver lab at 6. Sorry, I have a double shift at the student clinic. Sorry, I'm allergic to inherited wealth. Riley started watching Vanessa the way a journalist watches a politician, right before a scandal. Lauren stayed polite, but I caught her staring at the Birkin as if it were radioactive. One night, I came back late from the library and found Vanessa sitting on my bed, holding the acceptance letter I kept in my drawer, the one with the coal dust smudges on the envelope. She looked up, eyes soft. You really came from nothing, didn't you? That's inspiring. I snatched the letter. Boundaries, Vanessa. She stood, slow, graceful. You don't have to fight so hard. Ava, some of us want to help. I met her gaze in the dim light. People who want to help don't break into other people's rooms. For the first time, the mask slipped completely. Something old and predatory flickered behind the sorority sweet smile. You'll need friends here, she said quietly. Real friends. The kind who can open doors or close them. Then she was gone, the door clicking shut like a guillotine. I didn't sleep that night. I started digging. Riley's father was Victor Harper's chief financial officer. Lauren's mother had just been promoted to executive VP at Vanderbilt Capital after 20 years as a mid-level analyst. Both girls had received mysterious merit scholarships, rerouted through obscure Harper family trusts. And all 4 of us, Riley, Lauren, Vanessa, and me, had tested in the 99.999th percentile on every standardized exam since kindergarten. We weren't roommates. We had options on a menu. Vanessa's 19th birthday fell on the first warm weekend of May. The invitation arrived on thick cream cardstock, featuring gold foil and an embossed crest, the Hamptons estate, black tie, no +1s to keep it intimate. Riley's eyes lit up when she read it. This is my final project. I need footage that has reached over 100 million views. A Harper Vanderbilt party done. Lauren hesitated, fingers tracing the RSVP card. My mom already said yes to me. I smiled. Then we're all going. The estate was obscene 300 acres of manicured lawns, a helicopter pad, stables that looked like Versailles. White-gloved staff directed Bentleys and Maybachs like air traffic controllers. Vanessa greeted us at the marble staircase in a gown made of liquid diamonds. Literally. Swarovski had sewn 40,000 crystals by hand. She kissed the air beside our cheeks. You came, she breathed, squeezing my hands too tightly. I knew you would. Mason and Logan Vanderbilt stood behind her like Greek statues in tuxedos. Tall, dark, identical down to the dimple in the left cheek. Mason's eyes lingered on me a fraction too long. Logan flicked over Riley and Lauren like he was pricing cattle. Riley had hidden a 4K pin camera in her clutch. I had a second one taped under the strap of my dress. We were wired for sound. Dinner was a blur of billionaires and senators. Then came the fireworks over the ocean. Vanessa slipped away during the finale. We followed. The orchid greenhouse glowed like a jewel box temperature-controlled. Walls of glass. Thousands of white cattleyas bred to bloom only for her. The door was unlocked. We slid inside. Vanessa was already there, pressed between the twins among the petals. Mason had her wrist pinned above her head. Logan's mouth was on her throat. Riley's breath hitched. I grabbed her hand steady. Vanessa's voice floated through the humid air, languid and intoxicated by power. Pick one, Logan. I get to choose which womb we use, but remember the rules. You never fall for her. You only love me. Logan laughed, low and cruel. They're not people, babe. They're Ivy League incubators. Top 0.01% genetics. 0 family money to fight custody. Perfect. Mason traced a finger down Vanessa's collarbone. You lost everything saving us that day in Central Park Fertility. future, all of it. At the very least, we can keep the bloodline pure and you on the throne. Vanessa arched into them both, possessive. I want Ava. She's the smartest. Her babies will be flawless. My stomach lurched. Logan smirked. The mountain girl, she'll fight hardest. I love it when they fight. Riley's camera trembled. I squeezed her wrist. Keep rolling. Vanessa sighed. Content, we'll break her slowly, as planned. Fireworks exploded overhead, gold and blood red, painting the glass walls in apocalyptic light. The three of them kissed as if the world were ending, and they were the only ones left alive. Riley whispered, so softly I barely heard, got it, everything. We backed out silently, hearts hammering. Outside, the ocean roared against the cliffs. Vanessa thought she was hunting. She had no idea the prey had just recorded her confession in 4K quality. Round 2 was ours. Winter came early to Cambridge. The yard was glazed with ice, and the library steps were treacherous. I was leaving Widener at 1:17 a.m., eyes burning from 16 straight hours of anatomy plates, when he appeared. A man in a stained parka, face cratered with meth scars, breath reeking of cheap bourbon. He blocked the path, swaying. Ava Marie Reynolds. He shouted loud enough for the few late-night students to turn. Daddy's here. Daddy needs help. Phones came out instantly. Someone started live streaming. He lunged, grabbing my coat with filthy fingers. You're Harvard now, big shot. You owe me 600 grand or they break my knees. I stumbled back, heart jackhammering. This exact scene never happened in my first life. They were improvising. Then I saw him Logan Vanderbilt, leaning against a black Maybach parked illegally on Mass Ave, arms folded, watching like it was a theater. The script was obvious, a desperate girl from a broken home. A billionaire prince swoops in, pays the debt, and earns eternal gratitude, a classic damsel in distress trope, updated for the TikTok era. I let the man yank me closer, close enough for his spit to hit my cheek. Help me, baby girl, he wailed. I smiled. Then I kneed him in the groin, hard. He doubled over with a strangled squeal. While he gasped, I wrenched my phone free and hit record, holding it high. Everyone listening, I called out, voice ringing across the yard. This man is not my father. My mother died when I was born. My real family is back in West Virginia, and none of them would ever lay a hand on me. The man recovered enough to snarl, You ungrateful little... I dialed 911 on speaker, Harvard Square, Widener steps, a male, mid-40s, is assaulting a student and attempting extortion. Send officers now. Sirens were already close, someone else had called too. Logan's bored expression fractured. He straightened, suddenly unsure. The fake father realized the script was shredded. He tried to bolt. 2 undergraduate rugby players tackled him as if it were the Yale game. Campus police arrived in under 2 minutes. Harvard's chief of security jogged up seconds later, face grim. I was shaking now, adrenaline coursing through me, but I kept my voice level. Officer, I want a full report, including his ID, fingerprints, and everything else. And I want the live streams preserved. Someone tried to stage a public humiliation. The chief's eyes flicked to the Maybach. Logan was gone. By dawn, the footage was everywhere. Fake Dad Gate, who paid the meth head Harvard. Hero Ava. The man. Real name Daryl Coombs. 3 warrants. Hired through a burner app traced to a shell company registered in the Caymans, sang like a canary within 6 hours. The money trail led to a law firm that had previously worked with Vanderbilt Capital. Logan's white knight moment became the biggest PR disaster in Ivy League history. Vanessa stopped smiling in the dining hall. Score Ava 3 predators, 0. In the spring semester, Lauren transformed. The quiet finance major, who used to eat plain oatmeal, suddenly started wearing quiet luxury Loro Piana coats and Van Cleef & Arpels bracelets that appeared overnight. Her mother flew in every other weekend on the Vanderbilt jet. One April night, she came back to the suite drunk on something more substantial than champagne. Riley and I were studying when she collapsed on the couch. Mascara rivers down her cheeks. I'm pregnant, she whispered. Riley froze. I closed my textbook. Logan, I asked, already knowing. She nodded. Mom says if I have the baby, we'll never want for anything again. The Vanderbilts promised her a seat on the board of directors. Real shares, voting power. She laughed. A broken sound. All I have to do is be the spare womb and keep my mouth shut. Riley's face went white. Lauren, we have the greenhouse video. No, she sat up, frantic. If that comes out, everything collapses. My mom lost her job, her pension, and the apartment she just bought in Manhattan. She raised me alone. I can't destroy her. I understood. God help me, I understood. So we waited. I threw myself into labs, published 2 first author papers before the end of my sophomore year, and quietly accepted an invitation to a closed-door NIH fellowship that would fast-track me to an MD PhD. Riley built her following, with 11 million on TikTok and 8 million on YouTube, all under the brand QuinLeaks. She never posted the greenhouse tape. Not yet. Lauren's belly grew under cashmere sweaters. Logan escorted her to galas, hand on the small of her back for the cameras, while Vanessa and Mason played the part of thrilled future in-laws. We let them think they'd won. Graduation morning was perfect. New England spring blue sky, crimson gowns, proud parents choking up during Fair Harvard. Vanessa was the star, selected as class marshal. She walked across the stage in a custom Dior cape embroidered with the Harvard crest in gold thread. The announcer gushed future anchor of CNN Prime, fiancé of Vanderbilt heir Mason Vanderbilt, daughter of tech titan Victor Harper. The crowd roared. Lauren, now 8 months pregnant, sat in the front row with the Vanderbilt parents, serene in pale blue silk. Riley and I were 2 rows behind, our black gowns concealing the tiny hard drives taped to our bodies. The president finished his speech. Then, instead of lowering the microphone, he looked confused. The jumbotron supposed to show baby photos of graduates flickered. And the greenhouse footage began to play. 4K, crystal clear, Vanessa's voice echoing across the yard. Pick one. Logan, I get to choose which womb we use. Top 0.01% genetics. 0 family money to fight custody. Perfect. Gasps rippled outward like a bomb blast. The second video followed immediately Victor Harper's ex-con uncle, recorded in a dark alley months earlier by Riley. I did 12 years for staging that Central Park kidnapping. Little princess took the knife on purpose. Your daddy paid me $500,000 time to pay up. The elder Vanderbilts rose as one, faces carved from ice. Security swarmed the stage. Vanessa screamed an animal sound as Mason and Logan were physically dragged away by their own bodyguards. FBI agents in windbreakers appeared from the sides. Victor Harper was cuffed right there under the elm trees, still smiling for the cameras that now recorded his downfall. Pandemonium. Lauren stood calmly, hand on her belly, and addressed the microphone someone thrust toward her. For 4 years, I played the role they wanted me to play. Today, I stop. She turned to the Vanderbilt matriarch. The twins I'm carrying are yours by blood. But they will never call Vanessa mother. The prenup your lawyers wrote, I had it rewritten last month. I now control 38% of Vanderbilt Capital's voting shares, which were transferred to me on the day I signed the new custody agreement. You should read the fine print more carefully. The older woman swayed. Someone caught her before she hit the ground. Lauren looked straight into the nearest camera. And to every girl watching who's ever been told her only value is what she can give a rich man. We are not wombs. We are the future. The yard exploded in cheers. 3 months later, the twins were born in the Vanderbilt private birthing suite, a boy, Victor. After no one we ever spoke of again, and a girl, Ava. Lauren sent me photos from the boardroom where she now sat at the head of the table, infants in diamond-studded carriers beside her. Caption: Godmother's turn for a visit. Riley's media empire went public at a valuation of $4.2 billion. She purchased the top floor of One Beacon Court and installed a state-of-the-art studio overlooking the Charles River. And me? I completed my MD PhD in record time, published a paper that led to a cure for a pediatric leukemia subtype, and turned down every endowed chair on the East Coast. Instead, I took the $10 million annual donation Lauren now funnels to McDowell County and built the Reynolds Pediatric Research Institute on the exact plot where my mama's trailer used to sit. Last week, a paparazzi photo surfaced, Vanessa Harper. No security, no ring, working the register at a Duane Reade in Astoria, name tag crooked. The caption read, "Fallen heiress spotted. Still beautiful. Still broken." I saved the photo to a private folder labeled Justice. Sometimes, late at night in the new hospital wing that bears my mother's name, I walk the halls and listen to the babies breathing. And I whisper to every single one, "You are safe. No one will ever buy or sell you. Not while I'm alive." Because this time, the girl from the trailer park didn't just survive. She rewrote the ending. And the predators. They finally learned what happens when prey grows claws.